around 30, which means they were born in the mid-80s. That's wonderful because the Vision 2030 of Saudi Arabia is a vision that actually was developed to fulfill the dreams and ambitions of Saudi Arabia's new generation. While the generations before the 1980s, for many of them, the population, maybe less than 10% of the population could even read or write Arabic. The new generation in the 1980s are largely college graduates, but also can speak multiple languages, including not only English, but believe it or not, we have many Chinese speakers, Japanese, Korean, and major European language speakers. So this is a very new generation. And just as if you went back to the 80s and could not imagine Turkey competing with the most advanced countries in the world in their technologies and developing with their young people these kind of technologies that are as good as anything developed in the US or Europe, Saudi Arabia has also changed. So this is one of the things that most people outside Saudi Arabia who have not visited Saudi Arabia, let's say in the last 10 years, aren't aware of. The Vision 2030 is aimed at this new generation of young Saudis who are connected to the world, who are global in every sense, who, for many of them actually, get their information not from the traditional press, but from social media. And as Adnan mentioned earlier, it sounds unbelievable, but Saudi Arabia has the highest Twitter penetration in the world and also the WhatsApp. And because of this availability of uncensored information, there's a lot of transparency in the country. People know what happens. When there's a scandal here or there, when there's a project that goes bad, everybody knows about it already. And the young generation are, in that sense, confident. They know about what's going on. They're comfortable with themselves and with outsiders. And it's a very different experience to deal with them. And when I go to government offices now as a member of a slightly older generation, not much, I'm always impressed. I see these young Saudis, both men and women, and I'm just amazed that I look at them. There's fire in their eyes, there's ambition, and there's a commitment. And it's so good to see that because, you know, I think I'm getting tired. I'll be honest with you. I've seen good times and bad times, mainly good times, alhamdulillah. But still, when I work with them, I'm always feeling that I feel much younger. They give me hope. And I think it's important for Turkish businessmen and Turkish people in general, not just business people, to change their image of Saudi Arabia, because unfortunately, many Turkish businessmen who worked in Saudi Arabia or dealt with Saudi Arabia in the 80s and earlier, or even the 90s, probably many had negative experiences, and they've conveyed that to other people, that it's a difficult place to work, that the Saudis are difficult to deal with, et cetera, et cetera. It's a new generation. It's a new country. It is really new. And if you go see these young people who are very different, they're in their 30s, they're just like the new generation in Turkey. They have a knowledge that their older generation could never have dreamed of having. So I think that we should, or I strongly recommend for Turkish businessmen to seriously consider traveling to Saudi Arabia, meeting the Saudi people, and meeting this, especially at the government level and at the private level, this new generation of young people, and seeing what they can do for you. Because they see and they understand that the future of their country is not with oil, but with technology. And as President Erdogan said earlier today, the future prosperity of humanity is tied to technological development. Our resources will not increase. We know our resources are limited, whether it's oil or water or anything from the ground. But with technology, we can better utilize our resources, and we can not only better utilize resources, but also introduce new resources like solar energy and wind energy, etc. So all in all, as a member of a slightly older generation, as I said, who when confronted with these very brilliant young people, I have to pretend I'm old and wise to get away with it, because I know that if I was young again, I could not compete with them. So I congratulate both the Turkish young generation and the Saudi young generation, and I look forward to a great future for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Nabil. Mazen, you have been involved in the roadmap, and Mr. Selçuk just now gave us an insight into the defense development, which frankly we were all proud to see. So besides the defense and the oil and others, what areas you think will be beneficial in cooperation between Turkey and Saudi Arabia, other than the trade? Trade, yes, Mr. Mazen. Trade. Other than trading and commerce, which we are now focusing, I asked Mr. Mazen, the last gentleman, what other areas, because you spoke about defense, and very aptly you pointed out. So I'm asking the last panelists down there, what other parts of the roadmap we can cement further relations?
Thank you so much. It's always hard to be the last speakers, but I'll try to make another idea or thoughts to bring to the audience over here. Let's look at the strengths that our both countries have, by God, alhamdulillah. First of all, we have the holy places, Mecca and Medina, and this is the most important things that the Islamic world has. Those places, the implementation of the private sector within the 2030 vision could be involved a lot in this segment. We have the hospitality industries, and we have the transportation, we have the airplanes, we have the buses, we have the spare parts for the cars, for the buses. Also, we have the catering, we have the handicrafts that could be sold to the pilgrims and visitors. The 2030 vision is looking to or targeting around 30 million Umrah visitors per year by 2030, and this is a huge number comparing to the existing one. The other thing that we also have in common, which is the geographical location. We are both contending the three continents, actually, and within this geographical location, we are looking for both countries to be a major player for the financial industry, in the Islamic financial industry. We are talking about 1.3 trillion US dollar as an assets for those Islamic funds, and we are looking to have those financial centers within those two countries. We have just started with Saudi Arabia with the King Abdullah Financial Center, and now we are having here in Istanbul also the financial center in the Asian part of Istanbul. We have also the renewable energy. This is also another segment that we are targeting for the next term of our council, and especially in the solar one. We have the silica sand in Saudi Arabia. We have the aluminum, we have the cables, we have the steels, that it all could be contributed to the industry. What we are looking for exactly, that we are targeting the integrated projects between the two countries. We had success in the past in the housing industry through 1.5 year continuous workshops and meetings, and thanks God, it's been already succeed, and some of the consortiums will be signing soon with the Ministry of Housing, and hopefully we will do the same things with other files that we are preparing these days, and especially the industry, defense industry. We had just launched a new committee for that to be focused especially on that side. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll now switch over to Adnan and very briefly. You are both in SAGIA and you have also an insight into what business is going on. If a Turkish investor or a business comes to you, what message would you like to give him?
Well, there are many things we want to tell. First, in most sectors, businesses are actually allowed to own 100% of their business in Saudi Arabia, with the exception of very few. So that's the first message. The second message is that in Saudi Arabia, everything is actually transparent and based on merit basis. All government services are actually availed electronically and online, so you don't have to have back doors or special connections to get business. You can come, our doors are open as government, and everything is actually transparent and streamlined and consistent throughout the kingdom. 3, we encourage all businesses who are actually doing or dealing with Saudi Arabia to establish presence in Saudi Arabia and be present on the ground. It does not help if you're actually doing business while you're actually operating from Turkey and you just come on visit basis. We encourage you to actually come and establish presence and be there on the ground, because experiencing and having the first-hand experience is not like having a remote experience.
Thank you. Mohamad, you have been in business for a long time. If you had to choose one project that you have to tie up with a Turkish company or an industry, what project would you choose?
The business you are in. You are an expert in a specific sector or in a specific business. You have the knowledge and the skills for that sector. Find the right partner in Saudi Arabia. I tend to advise people not to take a high risk at the beginning and start with something more reasonable and find a local partner, learn the ropes, learn the market, learn about the sector. And the key is to do marketing research. Do not just jump into a sector and think that Saudi Arabia is a copy of Turkey. That's not true. The business models of Saudi Arabia, the marketing models, are totally different. You must understand the logistics. I mean, a total supply chain, full understanding of the rules and regulations, and have the right contract with your partner, legal, good contract that basically protects you. But Saudi Arabia is a more than 700 billion GDP country. The stock market of Saudi Arabia is more than $500 million. And right now is a good time to buy. It's at a low point. So, and the 2030 vision is basically going to invest heavily. You saw the presentation by Aramco today. That's just one aspect. Petrochemicals and energy, all types of energy. Huge opportunity in the market. And I think that making sure that you know your business here and a business model that you mastered in Turkey, you take that to Saudi Arabia.
Omar, I mean, you have been involved with the CIT, the Committee for International Trade, and for years have been struggling to give image, because as Mohamad said, to come to Saudi Arabia, you have to first know the rules and regulations. The model is different and all. What do you think should be done, A, to remove this negative image of business and also society that you have been fighting for years, and let people know that while there are some problems, the main and basic issue is that of security and stability. So what would you do to attract more investors from here and at least give them an idea that all is well there?
As you know, and I'll be frank, Saudi Arabia have been a target for the media to smear the image of Saudi Arabia. However, and thank God, we are always look bright in the way that we deal with people. Saudis are shy people, but in the same time, they're honest, they're easy to deal with, and they're hospitable. So what you need to do is first identify the market, which is Saudi Arabia, then make your research. Dig deeper than just the media and listen to news. Second is look at as Adnan said, the rules and regulations. SAGIA is one window, but there are many other multiple windows that you can look at. And today the internet and the media, social media is very active, and you can get more information on Saudi Arabia. And I think the other thing that we need to do is have more communication with the Turkish community and on different levels, from business level, social level, political level. Our political relations so far is excellent, and it's at its peak. So what we need to do is activate the other fields of communication, which is the social and attracting more tourism. And I think we see lots of tourists from Saudi Arabia coming to Turkey, and of course many pilgrimage coming from Turkey to Saudi Arabia. The third is economy, business. We have to have more like this, more of business forums, more of business delegations back and forth. And we need to have common ground, which is common interest. Invest in Saudi Arabia and invest in Turkey. The opportunity that my colleague here is offering is one example of many Turkish opportunities that we can really have in Saudi Arabia. And likewise, Turkey has many business opportunities that we can look at and attract business people to invest with it. So what we need to do is more communication, more business, social business, and of course, tourism is another tool.
Thank you. I've been just asked to wrap up because we've been late, but what I would like to say is that all our panelists gave an insight from their own perspective about Saudi Arabia. This was not a propaganda panel. Each of us spoke. The 2030 vision is a vision that needs hard work, determination. We have to leave our old mindset because we were used to being spoon-fed, free education, free health and all. Right now we have to work, change our mindset. A new and young dynamic population is there. The only thing I would also like is that when you read about this vision is to read from people who are qualified, because there are some negative aspects, as Omar said. And we do hope that this panel will be an insight, as I also would like to thank Selçuk for really making me happy to know that Turkey's defense initiatives have gone ahead. So thank you, everyone, and thank you for being a nice audience.
Please now kindly invite Mr. Egemen Baş, Co-President of Global Consultancy Board of International Cooperation Platform and former Minister for EU Affairs and Chief Negotiator of Turkey, to present the flag of honor to our moderator and our panelists. Mr. Egemen Baş is presenting the flag of honor to our panelists and our moderator. Thank you once again to our moderator and our panelists for their great input. Thank you.